With your Tackle HD fishing report for Lake of the Ozarks, here's Jack Uxa.
What's up, everybody? It's Jack Uxa here with your fishing report for Lake of the Ozarks, sponsored by Tackle HD. I'm going to start off with the crappie fishing, then I'll talk about the bass fishing here in a little bit. First off, the crappie fishing continues to be great. Something about these crappie around here, they just absolutely love it when the water's cold. We've got a great population of crappie. We had a really good spawn a few years ago, and there's a lot of these fish. They all look the same. They're about 10-inch fish. They're perfect size for eating. They got thick shoulders to them. They've been feeding all winter. There's a lot of black crappie. There's a lot of white crappie. We just had an exceptional spawn, and we're reaping the benefits of it now. The spawn happened a few years ago, probably because of some high water, and they've grown up to the point now to where, I mean, we're all harvesting them, and it's been exceptionally good lately. Had a guide trip yesterday. Had a customer that wanted to bring his own boat. He had just got forward-facing sonar on his boat. Kind of wanted me to help him kind of get caught up to speed on that. You know, it's been out for a few years now, but some people are, you know, still kind of getting used to that. And I've been using it every day for years. And man, it's a big deal. I mean, it's cheating sometimes. I mean, it really has made a big difference, and it's a lot of fun to use. And I gotta say, his units were better than mine. Whatever system he had, it was the Garmin with the new 34 transducer, and it's better than mine. It was awesome. I can't wait to get that. I'm going to have that real soon here. But just the standard live scope in general has really changed how we fish the last few years, guys. And, you know, Randy Blockett's always kind of known for the guy complaining about forward-facing sonar, but man, nowadays most people have it, and you got to utilize it, and it's not simple, and sometimes it's really tricky. But when you're talking about crappie fishing, it's a big deal, and fishing in general. So, how we caught most of our fish yesterday afternoon in particular was doing this simple bobber. It's pegged. And then I've got a little baby shad from Tackle HD here. This is the Pro Striker baby shad. They sell a lot of these things. You get a lot of them in the package too, which is nice. You know, they're about a 2-inch. This package is just about empty here. This is the bluegrass color. This is the color I really like when I've got clear water and sunny conditions. If I got clear water and cloudy conditions, the good old monkey milk. This is what they actually look like when they're mostly full package versus a mostly empty package. Also blue ice, great color when it's clear water and you got a clear day. As we get more into spring and we have more of these big rain events, and just when the crappie are active, electric chicken. Can you guys see that? It's a real bright color. It's bubble gum. It's got that cool looking belly to it. This color is starting to. This is the color I throw a lot in April, and it's awesome. When they want it, that's when they're active, and you can have some really fun days with it. So I'll kind of mix up my colors depending on the conditions. I try to get that bobber going. There's some days they're not shallow enough for it. Basically, there's some days where you gotta fish docks, or you gotta go down deep, or just when you're looking to find the fish, that's when I'll have just a straight jig. This is that blue ice color we were talking about on a 1/30 or 1/16 ounce jig head. I'm sorry. I do have them super glued. I'm a fan of super glue. This is just a Fluger spinning reel with 4-pound test, Charlie XT. I've talked about it before. It's fresh line. It doesn't have a lot of memory to it, and this is a rod that I'm just gonna leave without the bobber, because the bobbers are hard to cast. Bobbers are a pain in the butt to cast, really. And when you're looking for them, a lot of times you're more efficient if you could just cast a straight jig. There are a lot of times this time of year I'll put a horse head spinner on there, or like a Blakemore, little spinner on the jig head, particularly when they're active. You could go down deep with it. You could go shallow with it. You could go underneath docks with it. You kind of do a lot of things with it. And once you find them, hopefully you can find them shallow. That's where the most aggressive ones are. And then you can really mop them up with that bobber. I haven't started trolling yet for the crappie. That'll be about a month from now, maybe a little bit more than a month from now. Um, you know, there are a lot of people that are going to start to do the spider rigging deal, which, I'll do that at times. That's when you got the really long poles out there, especially in the dirty water areas. Like, we've recently been having a lot of rain, so the Nianguas are pretty dirty. The upper glaze is pretty dirty. I haven't been up the upper Osage lately. I imagine there's a lot of off-colored water up there, if not muddy water. Spider rigging is a big deal in those areas, particularly when you have like a little bit of cold front and they're just not on the banks. Sometimes they're on the banks, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you got to follow that wind to help them get up on the banks. But crappie, they don't have to be on the banks. And lately, we've been trying to find them on the banks, and that's really a lot of fun. That's what gets me excited. But you can't always just make that happen, depending on the weather and the fronts and what's going on with the water levels. Briefly, let me talk about the water levels. So, the lake has been dropped down about 6 feet low. It's 654. Dipped down to 653 at times here recently, and they lower the lake this time of year in case we get some really bad rains. We had one of those pretty intense rains last week, about 1.33 inches of rain. It raised the lake about a foot, and then they dropped it, about half a foot here recently. So, they're going to try to keep it kind of low for a little while still. It is definitely affecting which boat ramps you use. A lot of the smaller boat ramps you can't use right now. You definitely have to be careful of where you're going. I damaged my prop, put like a little nick on my prop. Had to get a new prop. Well, it was kind of a good excuse to buy a new prop too. But there's just hazards now with the water being low that you don't normally have to worry about. And so keep that in mind, particularly for you guys that are going to be going way up the rivers. A lot of guys like to fish like the upper Gravois or the upper this or the upper that in a smaller boat. That's where you got a lot of, mud flats. And, I've been sticking to the main lake for the most part lately. PB2, the Dam, Kaufman, Shawnee Bend, those kind of areas have been the most consistent for me. There's deep water. It is a little bit colder water than a lot of the other areas. Those other areas, when we have several days of sunshine, they'll catch on fire. Those fish will just go berserk. Lately, we really haven't had that. Now, the forecast is looking really good. So maybe I'll start to change up where I've been fishing, and I'll start to go to some of those shallow water areas. We've got some sunshine today. We've got a lot of sunshine in the future, and we've got warmer temperatures. I mean, I've still been wearing a lot of sweatshirts and a lot of layers when I'm out there on the water. That's gonna start to change here, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to switch gears over here to bass fishing now. So like I said, the weather's been inconsistent. I've still been going deep. The most consistent bait has been the Alabama rig for me. These are the Tackle HD swimmers. These are the 3.5 size. They've been, we've had a ton of tournaments lately, so I'm sticking to this little bit medium size swim bait. This color is called blueback herring. It doesn't have blue in it. It's got brown in it. But the fish like it. That's the most important thing. Don't know what it is about this that looks so natural to them, but they love this color. I've also got this smoke color. Has been very good. Here in Missouri, we can have 3 with hooks, like these 3, and then 2 without hooks. Depending on what state you're in. Some states you can have 5, some states you can have 1. You kind of pay attention to where you're at there. But this has been a really good color also. A lot of the bass have been offshore. They have not committed to the bank. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the inconsistent water levels or inconsistent weather. I do look for that to change here really soon. I can't wait for the bass to get shallow and feel comfortable shallow. But it's been... At moments, they'll be shallow, and then they spend most of their time offshore. Especially in the dirty water areas, it's very frustrating to fish that way. So I've been sticking down to the clear water areas. All of the river sections have had some color to them. The upper Gravois has still been pretty clear, but particularly the Nianguas and the Grand Glaze and the Osage. I like to fish those dirty water areas when you get some sunshine, and we're finally going to get that here soon. So that's going to be a big deal. That's going to help those fish go right up to the bank. Speaking of bank fishing, this has been one of the baits that's been catching some fish for us. This is a Tackle HD MF shaky head on a crocodile swamp bug. I added a little bit of orange to the tentacles there. This shaky head's a great shaky head. It's a very sharp hook. It matches up great with the swamp bug. That's been something I've kind of had a little bit of an issue with whenever I've tried to throw certain baits in the past where the jig head didn't really match the bait. Well, this jig head matches this bait very well, and it's just a goofy looking creature bait is what it is. I don't know. A lot of people around here throw them. Same thing with this beaver kind of crawl looking thing here that as soon as they get committed on the banks, any kind of shallow wood cover, and you're doing a lot of pitching, this is going to be a big deal. This is not a huge bait and not a real small bait, but it's a subtle bait. I've also been throwing these things. This is a little bit of this is another Tackle HD crawl. This one's got a little bit more of a flapping claw appendages here to it. Hopefully you can see that if I hold it straight. Straight green pumpkin for this color. June bug's really a great color when you got some off-colored water. Those are great baits that I'm going to pitch those things to steep banks on a Texas rig, in a fairly light Texas rig, like an 1/8 ounce Texas rig. Kind of when they're just in a slow move. They're not super aggressive. They want something slow. When they're wanting something more aggressive, that's when you get your spinner baits out. This one's been around for a long time. On one side of the blades, they're painted. On the other side of the blades, they're gold. Great bait in the springtime, catches a lot of big fish. Crankbaits are something that I'm missing out on. I know I'm missing out on it right now. When they're a little bit deeper, they want this one. As you can see, I've used them a little bit. They're kind of marked up a little bit. Same thing with that spinner bait. And when they're extra shallow, or you're just looking to cover a lot of water, a good old square bill like this, this will, 2 to 3, 4, 5 feet of water. This is perfect. When they want to be a little bit deeper than that, you go to your crankhead. And your crawfish colors are probably the most common this time of year. But even the shad colors work. Those are for your aggressive fish that, honestly, guys, it's going to be turning on here real soon. The tournaments have still been kind of all over the place. There's usually 2 or 3 guys that are way up at the top with very impressive bags, and then a handful of guys that do well, and then a lot of the field does not do very well. We had about 70 pros blank this past weekend at the BFL, so it's very inconsistent. But it's a great time of year to catch fish, to catch big fish at least. As things warm up, more and more fish will go to the bank. That'll be happening sometime in April here, and fishing will get a lot more consistent, and just average people will have more fun catching fish. Eventually, those crappie won't be biting as good. So if you're looking to do a crappie trip, you need to come now. I don't want to talk to people about crappie fishing in June and July and August. Give me a break. That's not what I want to do. I love crappie fishing when it's cold, and I really love bass fishing once things stabilize. May is one of our better months for bass fishing. June's my all-time favorite month for bass fishing. And I guess that's about it, guys. I am going to be selling my jet boat. I've got a 18-foot aluminum jet boat with a 150 E-Tech on it. It's got live scope. It's got a talon on it, 12-foot talon on it. I'm selling it for about $22,000. It's been an awesome boat for me. For any of you river rats and you're looking for a jet boats have been hard to find. Go to my Facebook page. I've got it listed on there. And I don't know. That's about it, guys. Go out there, get fishing. We've got some nice weather in front of us. And Big Bass Bash isn't too far away here for Lake of the Ozarks too. So fishinglakeoftheozarks.com is my website. I just updated it this morning. Tight lines.